most memorable creatures in movie history. But how many were there? Well, whilst we don't have one definitive answer, originally 7 Tyrannosaurus rexes were thought to have been bred on Isla Sorna. That's according to the Trespasser video game. Although it's not looked into so much because its storyline doesn't affect the main timeline, it is still technically considered canon in a way for the most part, as no official management has discredited it via future installments, like Jurassic Park the game was, and or haven't announced that it's no longer considered canon. But we can safely assume that the dialogue used within this game can be considered canon for the most part. So, taking a piece of dialogue from that game, we hear John Hammond, voiced by Richard Attenborough, clearly state that they bred 7 Tyrannosauruses on Isla Sorna originally.
Tyrannosaurus rex, tyrant lizard. They reigned for 25 million years. We grew 7 of them, the 7 rulers of the island.
So, should we take this information as canon, we know that there are at least 7 Tyrannosauruses alive, but how many of them did we see within the movies? Whilst we have some additional ones that clearly weren't part of the original batch because they are definitely not fully grown, we can somewhat decipher this later in this video. But for now, let's follow the timeline of the Tyrannosauruses within this saga. The first Tyrannosaurus that we know of in the Jurassic movie canon is the feathered Tyrannosaurus rex that we see 65 million years ago, where it faces off with a Giganotosaurus. At this time, we don't have a name for this rex, as it was around during the Cretaceous period and not during the current era of Jurassic. But for the video's sake, let's just call her Trina. Trina was the direct ancestor of the Tyrannosaurus that we all know and love from Jurassic Park, Rexy. But a little bit more on her later. Trina lost her battle with the Giganotosaurus and died there and then due to a snapped neck. Whilst all seemed lost, a mosquito arrived and drank her blood, just before she passed away. This same mosquito would later be found and used to create an almost pure breed of Tyrannosaurus. But not just any Tyrannosaurus. This specific mosquito helped create Rexy, which is our next Tyrannosaurus on the timeline. Rexy is by all means the most popular dinosaur in pop culture reference, with multiple of her roars appearing in multiple other movies, such as Star Wars, Avatar, and many more. But within canon, she was actually the first ever Tyrannosaurus rex to have been bred. She was first hatched in 1988, and was merely 5 years old in the Jurassic Park movie. After defeating the Velociraptors at the end of this movie, she was unfortunately not to be seen again on screen until 2015's Jurassic World. However, she was known to have eaten the sick Triceratops, seen in Jurassic Park, in the year of 1994 during the cleanup, and then was later captured by Hoskins' team in the early 2000s to be presented for Jurassic World as the main attraction when it opened back in 2005. Not much is currently known about her until 2015, but we are able to identify Rexy from her scars on the side of her neck that were gained from the Velociraptor battle in 1993. After 2015, she is next seen in 2015 to 2016 throughout Camp Cretaceous Seasons 2 and 3. Whilst she only ever appears as a cameo, she does cause her fair share of havoc for the campers and even eats a few more people as well. After 2016, we don't know anything about her whatsoever until 2018, where she appeared in the Blue VR experience, taking on Blue and a Baryonyx as well, all during the events of the early stages of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. During Fallen Kingdom's opening sequence that takes place in 2016, we see it line up directly to Camp Cretaceous Season 3. However, back in 2018, she is captured by Wheatley's team on the Arcadia, and soon broke out of Lockwood's Manor after being kept there for a long while. She appears occasionally throughout the motion comics before leading into 2021, where she is seen in the short film, Jurassic World: The Prologue. She reigns havoc across moviegoers in the year of 2021, before soon being captured by the DFW and transported over to Biosyn's Sanctuary in 2022. She loses out to the Giganotosaurus after fighting for a deer, and then again gets her ass absolutely beat by the Giganotosaurus later on in the movie as well. Not before waking up from being unconscious to avenge her fallen ancestor and killing the Giganotosaurus. After this, She appears at the end of the movie with 2 more Tyrannosauruses. But who are they? Well, fun fact, they are the Tyrannosauruses that next appear in this canonical timeline. Moving on to the next 2 Tyrannosauruses in the timeline, bringing the total tally to 4, we have Buck and Doe, mainly known from the movie of the Lost World Jurassic Park. Buck and Doe are the first Tyrannosauruses documented to have been working as parents within Site B, and would stop at nothing to not only get their baby back, but also be a nuisance to the InGen team later on. The baby, also known as Junior, that's our 5th Tyrannosaurus Rex, was transported back to the mainland with the Buck Rex following too. It completely destroyed portions of San Diego in 1997 and was found to be looking for his baby on the mainland after being tracked by Roland Tembo back on Isla Sorna. Towards the end of the movie, Buck and Doe were transported back to Isla Sorna to live the rest of their lives on that island in 1997. Buck and Doe were actually part of the original batch of 7 Tyrannosaurs that were bred and born on Isla Sorna back in the late 1980s. After 1997, we literally know nothing of these animals. They were thought to have still been alive, but we had zero confirmation of that. That's until we got to see Jurassic World Dominion in 2022. The 2 Tyrannosauruses seen at the end of the movie with Rexy are none other than the Buck and Doe. So it's nice to see that they are still alive after all of this time, although very close to the end of their lives just like Rexy. However, that begs the question, what happened to Junior? Obviously, he would not be chilling with his parents at his big age and would have left the nest by now, but we currently have no information regarding his Tyrannosaur unfortunately. Let's just hope that that deleted Jurassic Park 3 idea doesn't become canon, because getting killed by baby pteranodons is not a nice way to go out. Talking of Jurassic Park 3, the next Tyrannosaurus that appears on the timeline is the Bull Rex, that unfortunately lost its life in an awesome battle and rememberable battle with the Spinosaurus. Not much is known about this Tyrannosaurus sadly, so there's not much backstory to go off. We can see that it also wasn't a fully grown Rex, and I believe that it was reported somewhere to have been around 2 to 3 years old, which explains why he was not as big as Rexy, Buck or Doe at the age of 5, but also not so small as if it was an infant. I would say it was around the accurate size range for his age. We also know that because this Rex was smaller and not the right age, this Rex must have also been reproduced by another mating pair on Sorna, just like the same way Junior was. After this, we have to wait until 2016 before we learn of our final 2 pairings of Tyrannosaurus. These are Big and Little Eatie from Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Seasons 4 and 5. These 2 Tyrannosaurs are mother and daughter, and were taken from Isla Sorna and brought on over to Manta Island instead. Now, it is unclear whether or not Big Eatie is a Tyrannosaurus that we've previously seen in the franchise, such as Doe. However, for the time being, we only know that it is in fact a separate species of Rex. These 2 Tyrannosauruses are fully grown and live their days on Sorna. Since they are classified as mother and daughter, this means that one of them was bred in nature, and the other was most likely part of the original 7 Tyrannosauruses on Sorna. This means that only Rexy, Buck, Doe and Big Eatie are the ones that we know to be part of those 7. However, clearly Big Eatie had to mate with a male Tyrannosaur at some point to create Little Eatie. Whilst it is unclear whether or not this unknown male is the same one as to what we have seen previously in the franchise, we know there is at least one that mated with Big Eatie to make Little Eatie. So technically we know of 5 of the 7 original Rexes. Big and Little Eatie weren't heard about in the timeline until 2016, and thus there was not much story to them. However, it is worth noting that Big Eatie took on the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3 and ended up losing the fight and almost her life. She quickly recovered from her wounds as the Spinosaurus almost went on to kill her offspring. Luckily for Little Eatie, her mother was right around the corner to get her own back on the Spinosaurus. After this battle, they were never to be seen again, and it remains unclear if they survived up to the year of 2022, just like the Spinosaurus. Should the Dino Tracker website map be anything to go by, there is no evidence of Manta Island in the location that it should be, which suggests that it may have been blown up between the years of 2016 and 2022, which could also answer why we didn't see all of those species on the mainland in 2022, especially Spinosaurus. Either way, these are all of the Tyrannosauruses that we know of in canon via timeline order: Trainer, Rexy, Buck, Doe, Junior, Bull, Big Eatie, and Little Eatie, as well as probably the father of Little Eatie somewhere on Isla Sorna too. Thank you so much for watching today's video.